Hey Canada, how you doing? Colin Saunders here again with another Facebook Live. Okay, so today, Central Nova Women's Resource Center had a gazebo built in the memory of Catherine Campbell. And today they dedicated it to her name at approximately lunchtime Atlantic time. And so I couldn't help but to think about Catherine once again and talk to you about relationships, especially our government's view on relationships and how they see women. Seamus O'Regan, I watched you in the House of Commons and I watched you on Power Play talk about how you've been waiting for 3 weeks for your department to get back to you about why a convicted cop killer is getting funding from Veterans Affairs when our own veterans can't even get funding for things that are afflicting them and they're waiting in queue for. I'm really surprised that you're the Minister of Veterans Affairs and it's taking upwards of 3+ weeks for you to get an answer back and for you to get back to the public on why this convicted killer is getting money from Veterans Affairs. I know that my children, once they reach the age of, I think it's 18, their benefits are cut off and they no longer have access to those benefits. So why is a 30-year-old murderer getting those benefits? Well, let's talk about things for a second here. Let's talk about our government and the way that they have been playing off of victims lately. Justin Trudeau, when you were elected, you wanted to have a gender equal government. Okay, now let's think about that for a second. Gender equal is great in theory and fine, but why couldn't we have a merit-based system? Why couldn't the people that you hired for these positions, why couldn't they be based off of merit instead of sex? I know my fiance is kind of insulted when she heard about it because she was telling me, she said, Colin, you know, if I was hired for a job just based on the fact that I'm a female, I would be kind of insulted by that. I would like to think that they hired me based on my merits or my qualifications, right? So, you know, it kind of makes you wonder how Justin Trudeau can just throw that out there. No merit to anything, we're just going to make things even Steven. That doesn't make sense to me. You know, just like Andrew Scheer said a lot of times, you don't have to push someone down to make yourself seem better. You know, we should be lifting people up. We shouldn't put someone on a pedestal either, because whether you're putting them on a pedestal or you're talking down to them, neither one of those is a balanced scenario, and that's not a healthy relationship. That's an abusive relationship. The way a lot of Canadians are seeing it, you know, Prime Minister Trudeau and Minister O'Regan, is that by supporting this murderer, you're supporting violence against women. And really, that's how a lot of people are seeing it. I mean, there is a system to get Christopher Garnier some help through the provincial system, through the corrections system. That's always been in place. So it makes you wonder, why did Veterans Affairs decide that they were going to stick their nose into this and inject a bunch of money into Christopher Garnier's treatment? Word on the street is, I mean, I don't really know for sure, but I think Chris Garnier's father is, he must have been pretty high up in the military when he retired, and a very staunch Liberal supporter. And that really doesn't fit in with my values or Canadian values. We'd like to think that, you know, things are always done for the right reasons. So once again, you know, we have a Prime Minister who is talking about gender equality, yet, you know, there's report of him years ago groping some reporter's ass at a benefit for his brother who had passed away. Now think about that for a minute. His brother passes away and they have a benefit for him, And you would think that Prime Minister Trudeau, he'd be stricken with sorrow, he'd be thinking about his brother. But instead, he's grabbing some reporter's ass, and then later when he's asked to be held to account on it, he just says he remembers the interaction differently. Well, I have news for you, Prime Minister Trudeau. I think that we're going to have a different recollection of things when it comes to election time. We're going to vote you out because Canadians don't hold these values that you do. We don't put women on a pedestal, and we don't talk down to them or treat them the way you've been treating them. It's not uncommon for the Liberal government to find victims and to try and to help them, right? You know, it's almost like a man chosen by proxy, but with our government, right? They find a problem, and then they find a solution to the problem, so they look like the good guys here. Same with Windy Wendy here. She's always trying to take everyone's handguns, and so far she has yet to provide a logical based argument on why Canadians shouldn't own handguns or firearms, period. It's all emotion based. But once again, the Liberal government puts her on CFAC and you know, holds her up as a victim so that they can push their anti-gun agenda and the gun grab votes, right? Because you know, the average Canadian doesn't really know about all the intricacies of firearm laws and all the facts, right? So they throw all these made up facts out there and hope that we are going to grab onto that. You know, they're fear mongering and thinking that they're providing a quick, easy solution to things, and we should vote for Justin Trudeau because of it. Well, I say I don't think so, because where are the facts? There are no facts to support that a handgun ban or assault rifle ban will really help anything. The facts don't support that. In fact, when you look at an insurance company, there's insurance companies that insure firearm owners, and when they look at firearms, they say that firearms are less, you're less likely to be harmed in the shooting sports and hunting than you are playing golf, than you are boating, for example. So why are we making such a big fluff about firearms, right? Once again, they're using victims, they're using females to push their agenda. And really, aren't we all more concerned about Canada being a safer place? If Canada is a safer place, then Ralph Goodale, who's promised and reaffirmed a promise and reaffirmed a promise to spend money on guns and gangs and all that stuff, well, where's the money? Where's the money, Ralph? There is no money. He hasn't provided any to the police forces. But then, you know, he's got Bill Blair trying to say that taking our handguns is going to make the street safer. Well, hasn't happened yet, has it? I mean, all this talk and all this awareness from all their false facts has really led them nowhere. In fact, there's still more blood running in the streets. So, Seamus, I know you have the power to do the right thing here. You have the power to turn off this funding to Garnier's treatment. Why you don't, I don't know. If you really have a hard time living with this, like you say you do, why don't you do the right thing and walk across the floor? Walk across the floor like one of your colleagues did earlier in the week. I'm sure you'll find that there's a lot more support for you on the other side. There's someone there that will help support you do the right thing instead of trying to hide the reasons why we are paying for some convicted murderer to get help when there's already a system in place to help them. You're stepping in front of the line of veterans who desperately need this help. Why are we not spending all this money on veterans? You're giving it back to the pot here. I don't understand that either. It's hard to take in. It's hard to take in, you know, this Liberal government and their patchwork politics. Nothing they've done so far has been right. They've ruined the energy sector. It's no good. But anyways, back to my point again here quick. I think we've all had enough of the way our Liberal government has been treating the women in our culture. They're treating them like victims. We should be lifting them up and empowering them and not making them victims and not focusing on that. And so if you think that Catherine Campbell should be honored, I think that what we all need to do is we need to call Seamus O'Regan and provide him some feedback and let him know that it's not okay to give a cop killer money for his self-induced victimization, really. We don't need to give money to his therapy. No, it's just wrong. And I would really like to think that our Minister of Veterans Affairs and our Prime Minister would do the right thing, but I'm not holding my breath here. So I've posted their numbers, the number for Seamus O'Regan's office and his constituent office, and I would ask that in the next this week that we can call him up and we can provide some respectful feedback and tell him how we feel as Canadians about this situation. We need to keep the pressure on. We need to show them that we have a voice and that we won't stand for this. Minister O'Regan, those seats in the House of Commons in the centre block, they're green. They're green for a reason, because they represent a grassroots government. Okay? So if you're really listening to the people of Canada, hear their call and do the right thing. All right? Enough said on that. I've been rambling here for a little bit, but I just wanted to get this off my mind. Thinking of Catherine, thinking of her family. It was really nice to see that gazebo was erected in her name, and that her legacy lives on. If you want to donate to a cause, the Truro Police have a memorial fund for Catherine, and you can feel free to donate to it. If you want to donate in some other way, feel free to PM me, and we can figure out a way to get some money to them. And also the Central Nova Women's Resource Center, awesome place, and they're taking care of women in all the right ways. All right, they're lifting them up and not pushing them down. So anyways, thanks a lot, Canada. Take care. Make sure you give old Seamus a phone call. He'd love to hear from you. I love you. Peace, and take care, Canada. Bye-bye.